So let's talk about your PR reports. Are they still all about clips and impressions? If so, you're not just using old metrics, you're basically leaving strategic credibility on the table. Today, we're going to break down a modern framework that connects what you do in communications directly to real business impact.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, right? For way too long, PR measurement has been like looking in the rearview mirror, just documenting what already happened. But in today's media world, that backward glance isn't just old school, it's a huge strategic liability. The goal isn't to report on the past anymore, it's to shape what happens next.
Okay, so that's the big question, isn't it? If the old model is broken, what do we replace it with? How do we connect our communications work to actual business results and do it in a language the C-suite not only understands, but really values? Well, that's exactly what we're about to dive into. All right, to really get where we're heading, we've got to take a quick look back at where we've been. For decades, PR measurement was, well, it was basically a reactive thing. It was all about collecting proof that you were busy, not proving that you made an impact.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. I mean, think about it. Narratives can literally form and die in a matter of hours now, not weeks. So a report that lands on an executive's desk 2 weeks after the fact, that's not a measurement tool. The source material calls it a historical archive, and that's perfect. It's just way, way too slow to be strategic.
But listen, the problem here is way bigger than just speed. There are some deep structural flaws in these old approaches that just prevent them from giving you any real intelligence. Let's break down 3 of the most critical gaps in the data. First up, like we said, data latency. The info just gets there way too late to do anything about it. Second, the vanity metrics trap. I mean, sure, a huge clip count tells you were busy, but what did it do? It says nothing about your actual impact. And finally, and this one's huge, there's the missing narrative layer. Most tools are great at tracking single articles, but they totally miss the bigger story. A reputation isn't built on one clip. It's built on the entire narrative being told about you, everywhere. Okay, so how do we actually fix this whole mess? The solution is a strategic, 4-tiered framework. It's designed to draw a super clear, totally defensible line from your team's day-to-day work straight to the company's bottom line. Let's see how it works. What I love about this framework is that each tier answers a bigger, more important question for your leadership. It starts with outputs, simple stuff. What did we produce? Placements, message inclusion, that kind of thing. Then it steps up to outtakes. Did the right people actually see it? That's where you're tracking things like share of voice. Next, you get to outcomes. Did we actually change how people think? Now you're looking at shifts in sentiment. And then you hit the most important one, organizational impact. Did we move the business? That's the one that really matters. And this all leads to the holy grail, really, which is moving beyond all those endless charts and spreadsheets. The most powerful part of this whole framework is how it can boil all that complexity down into one single, meaningful number that leadership can actually use. And that's what we call media reputation scoring. So instead of drowning your execs in a sea of clips, you hand them one number. A single score that pulls together coverage quality, how prominent your narrative is, publication authority, sentiment, all of it. It becomes a KPI they can track just like any other business metric. And crucially, it translates what we do into the language of the C-suite, results. And this right here, this is the night and day difference. The old report says, hey, we got 47 media placements. The new reputation scored report says our impact score is an 82 out of 100, that's up 11 points, and we're crushing our innovation leader narrative while stealing share of voice from our biggest competitor. See? One reports activity, the other reports impact. It's a completely different conversation.
Okay, but hold on, because there's a huge new player in the game that's changing everything as we speak, and that's AI. And believe me, its role is much, much bigger than you might think.
You have to think about AI in 2 ways. First, it's an operational tool. It helps us analyze media with a speed and scale that was impossible before. But the really profound shift is this. AI is now a primary audience. Large language models are out there right now reading all your earned media and synthesizing it to create summaries about your brand. The stories in your coverage are directly feeding the answers AI gives the world about who you are.
And people in the industry are definitely paying attention. A recent report found that 60% of PR pros see AI as a positive force. But, and this is the key part, only if they can prove tangible outcomes from their work.
In this new world, measuring how AI perceives your brand isn't a nice to have. It's absolutely essential for survival.
All right, let's pull all of this together. What should you actually be tracking? What should you be reporting to your leadership team? It really comes down to a handful of high-impact metrics that tell a clear strategic story.
So, what should be on that dream dashboard you show your boss? Well, it's a focused set of numbers that tells the whole story. You start with your overall impact score. That's your top-line view. Then, you benchmark yourself as share of voice against your competitors. You dig deeper by looking at your narrative performance and your sentiment to see if you're telling the right story. And finally, you get a real sense of your influence with things like message pull-through and that all-important AI perception snapshot. Together, these aren't just metrics that fill a report, they're metrics that drive decisions. Look, at the end of the day, modern measurement isn't just about making reports. It's about actually engineering your reputation. It's how you get the budget you need, build credibility, and truly shape the narratives that are going to define your brand's future. To see how your team can make the shift from reactive measurement to strategic reputation engineering, just visit handraise.com.